Afternoon, everybody. I will check now the attendance according to the official class list released by the ICRNS. Hello, good afternoon. Abeliana Villarosa, is this which is which? Which is your family name and which is your first name? Nandito ito, si Abeliana. Okay, everybody, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes po, ma'am.
Doba, Silbrix,
Ma'am.
Alayon, Raul Jr.,
Po, ma'am.
Baloro, Jeanette, Barbarona Angelica,
Yes po, ma'am.
Belio Jordan,
Present, ma'am.
Buktoto Patricia, Borda Hani,
Present, ma'am.
Borjos Betty, Cabras Jenibel,
Present, ma'am.
Kalipayan Trelia May,
Present, ma'am.
Carlit Gisrel, Daverao Jora, De La Torre Johanna,
Present po, ma'am.
Depoldo April,
Present po, ma'am.
Escabusa Jade,
Present po, ma'am.
Espinorio Mica,
Present po, ma'am.
Espiritu Marizel,
Present po, ma'am.
Alma Daril,
Present po, ma'am.
Figura Annalyn,
Present po, ma'am.
Gabisan Alexa,
Present po, ma'am.
Gabriel Del, Gabriel Jendel Joy, Giatoro Edwin,
Present po, ma'am.
Maya Nico,
Present, ma'am.
Inderio Chini,
Present, ma'am.
Israel Shanri,
Present, ma'am.
Habla Christine,
Present po, ma'am.
Waban Jeza, Lagnayo,
Present po,
Christine,
ma'am. Present po.
Chavez, Jindelin,
Present po, ma'am.
Limutan, Nelly,
Present po, ma'am.
Nasillones Michael,
Present po, ma'am.
Mendoza Mystica, Mendoza Mystica, Molinos Jundi,
Present, ma'am.
Pendon John, Pendon John, Perez Desiree,
Present po, ma'am.
Pial, Eva.
Present po, ma'am.
Prieto, Darius.
Present po, ma'am.
Oh, Darius, are we related?
Wala di ako kambalo, ma'am.
Ramirez Randolph.
Present, ma'am.
Beverly Rin.
Green po, present, ma'am.
Rosales John.
Present po, ma'am.
Sabanal Rondon.
Present po, ma'am.
Sabudan Glory. Body not called. That are present here today. That is present.
Abiliana, ma'am.
Sarmiento, ma'am.
Abiliana, present.
Ano yung nangyari, Abeliana? Ngayon ka lang pumasok?
Yes, ma'am.
Patricia Buktoto, are you around? Patricia Buktoto? How about Bordios, Betty?
Present po, ma'am. Nawala ang net po kanina, ma'am. Sorry po.
Carlit Jezreel. Carlit Jezreel. Daverao Jora.
Present po, ma'am. Na-leave ko ganun, ma'am, na walang net.
Gabriel Jandel.
Present po, ma'am.
What happened?
Dugay ko kasulod, ma'am. Kay saba mo kay silingan, ma'am. Nag-video okay.
Oh, ingay mo silingan nga nagklase ka. How about Mendoza, Mystica? What happened? Mendoza? Lower down your hand. Tapos na kayo nakipag-usap. Pendon John. Bakit ka late? Nandito? The rest? Okay na? Sige. We
Ma'am,
haven't-
Sarmiento po, ma'am.
Excuse me?
Sarmiento po, ma'am. Present.
Ay, may Sarmiento pala. Dali lang, darling. Kaya gurag, wala mang kasako ang list. Were you officially enrolled?
Yes po, ma'am.
Okay, sige. Meron Judy ay. Kadali lang. Salada, Jessie. Are you around? Samboa Aljun. Saniko James.
Present, ma'am.
Okay. Dahil lang ha. May second page pa pala. Sorry. Sarmiento, Dayan,
Present po, ma'am.
Tangob, Mary Anirin, Trobillas, Randy,
Present po, ma'am.
and Zenoria Clint.
Present, ma'am.
Okay, sige. May second page pa pala tayo. Sige, everybody.
Present po, ma'am.
Excuse me.
Lang. Yes, ma'am. Present po si Buktoto, ma'am, kanang na wala man ako ang net good ganina, ma'am.
Okay, everyone. I hope you answered the essay part of which you sent your activity last time, correct? Di ba may activity tayo last time?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
You were asked to,
Yes, ma'am.
okay, you were asked to send, excuse me, hinilan tatingog ha, nagklase ko. You were told to send it in your essay, right? And you will send it as an attachment in a JPEG or JPG file. Tama ako?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
So lahat? Nakasend ba tayo lahat? Ano nangyari? Nakasend ba kayo last time? Kasi that was our last meeting. And then this time around, we will have our discussion and other things that we need to plaster so we can start and then have your examination. Okay, I will give your examination next week. July 2, 3, 4, July 5. Tama ba? Oo, July 5. That's our first exam, which is supposedly July 1 atong second exam, but it was moved to July 4, if I'm not mistaken, because of the holiday. So there will be no class on July 1 as per proclamation number, sana yun? I-send yun kanina eh. Sorry. Saan gani yun ha? Sandali lang. Sana yung phone ko? It was sent. Proclamation number. Sana yun? Para klaro ta diri. Dili ta nagbut-buot na walay klase. Yun. Wait lang. Yun. Let me read to you pursuant to Section 1 of RA Republic Act 6380. The act declaring July 1st of each year as public holiday in the provinces of Davao del Norte, Davao del Sur, and Davao Oriental as a proclamation of the araw ng Davao Province. So officially, on July 1, we don't have classes. That will be on Friday. And I will give you your first examination on July 5, Tuesday. We will meet on Monday. Okay, our examination content or pointers. Get a pen, get a paper, and write this one down. Let's have, number 1, a brief background of what is arts, the components of arts, the genre of arts, and the type of arts. Okay? This is supposed to be discussed to you in your GE7. Okay? Dapat na-discuss na yan. Siguro mga 10 items for this one and another 10 items for the vision, mission, and core values. This is the drill. Every time we have our first exam, appeal gina siya. To reiterate and to review if students are well aware of their university vision, mission, and core values. And the remaining items or points that will be about our lesson. Okay, that will be discussed to you later on today and on Monday. Again, examination will be next week, July 5, Tuesday. It will be given to you during our time, 3:30 to 5 p.m. And the moment you start your examination, your 1 hour allotted for the examination will commence. Questions so far? Okay, absences, you are well aware of. Third year na kayo, alam nyo pila ka absences. I am checking the attendance from time to time, especially if we will have our discussion. However, on the days that I will be absent or will not able to attend our class, that is considered no class at all. And also, I suggest that you refrain from messaging me personally. Kay dili gid ko magtubag-an na. If you have concerns, raise it in our Facebook GC, or you might as well go to your Quipper accounts dito kay mo man to atong official LMS. O dito mo pag-message ako if you can't raise it in GC. Kay your concern is very personal. However, if it's about you not attending the class and you still have 9 privileges of absences, o dili naman ang hid. Ibawas na lang nato dito sa inyong 9 privileges. Kabalo naman mo anak. Okay, examination permits again ha, though I am not allowed to make you or to let you take the exam without the permit. However, okay, lenient man ko kaayo anak, bahala lang magkasabaan tani sa UM basta maka-exam ra mo. Kaya at the end of the day, di magyapon mo makakita na inyong grado o dili mo makabayad. Okay? But as much as possible, naagid tayo permit. For those who have paid on time and in advance, kabalo mo, I give privileges through essay. So, adto mo sa atong essay, read the instructions there, and then submit me your permit, and you will have something for you in every examination. That is your privilege. We understand that everybody's having hard time in money matters. However, saan man tag-UM ani magpa-exam walay permit, that is my solution now. So I hope, kung makabayad man ta, then I will give you your privilege. Sige, from time to time as well, it would be difficult for me to call one by one for people to lead the prayer and also to recap what we have done in the previous session. So what I will do is, I will be assigning people to lead us our prayer every meeting. So today, sino gani yung nag-pray today? May I ask?
Figura, ma'am. Figura, ma'am.
Figura. Ano yun? Figura. Annalyn. So, okay ka na. Okay. May I also call Sabudan? Are you around? Wala si Sabudan? Rosales. Is Rosales around? Wala. Belio, Jordan. Are you around, Belio?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Belio, you lead our prayer on July 4.
Okay po, ma'am.
Okay, Belio?
Yes, ma'am.
Sige. July 4. And then, ang examination natin, July 5. Let's have another discussion, July 6. Davirao, Jora, are you around?
Yes po, ma'am.
July 6, ikaw mag-lead ng prayer natin, ha?
Yes po, ma'am.
July 8. Maricel Espiritu, are you around?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you lead the prayer on July 8. Abeliana Villarosa, CJ. Are you around, CJ?
Yes, ma'am.
July 13, July 11 rather. July 11.
Okay, ma'am.
Ikaw mag-lead the prayer, ha?
Yes, ma'am.
July 13. Jenny Inderio, are you around?
Yes, ma'am.
On July 13, you lead the prayer.
Ano po, ma'am?
Darling, July 13. July 15. Manggilimuta, Nelly. Are you around?
Yes, ma'am.
You lead the prayer on July 15.
Okay po, ma'am.
Okay, the recap. What is recap? Recap is you give us a brief background kung ano nangyari sa ating previous meeting. So mga ganun lang. Previously, last August or July, ganito, ganyan, we had our activity on abstract mom and you let us prepare the following po and we had the activity. O ganun lang, short recap lang kung anong ginawa natin. Exam ba tayo? Nag-quiz ba tayo? Okay? Sige, let's start with wala mang klase sa Friday. So, July 4. July 4. Oh, Annalyn, figura, okay lang ba? Ikaw, July 4?
Yes, ma'am.
Sige, July 6. Jessa, Huwaban. Jessa, you're around. July 8. Mystica Mendoza. Mystica? Wala. Jundi Molinos.
Yes po, ma'am.
Okay, July 8 ka dong.
Yes po, ma'am.
Nag-recap ha, para tuloy-tuloy tayo. And then, July 8 ba? Oh. July 11. Darius Prieto. O, ikaw mag-recap niyan. Darius.
Yes, ma'am. Okay po.
July 13. Raul Alayon Jr.
Yes, ma'am.
And then, April Dipoldo, July 15.
Yes, ma'am.
Ay, na wrong. Okay. Sige. Question. O, others, I will give you your schedule pag matapos na on July 15. Then let's have another 15 days. Okay? Sige. I am sending you now through your, anong tawag natin dito? Through your Quipper, our lesson. Okay? Dali lang. Ano ba previously ang nasend ko sa inyo? Okay. Dali lang ha. Para meron na kayong copy of what we will be I'm sending you our first lesson for this class. Okay. Sending you the styles of painting. Para meron kayong review. Our exam is on July 5. Tama? Okay. Tell me if you can see my screen, ha? Kita ang screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes po, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Sige. Not quite sure kung madungog ninyo ni. Sige daw. Madungog ninyo sa inyong end. Tell me kung madungog ninyo sa inyong end, ha? Na-sounds wala. Dapat na-sounds diri ka nga
Wala,
part.
ma'am.
Okay.
Wala,
Wala,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Wala, ma'am.
Wala, ma'am.
How about that? Nana?
Wala, ma'am.
Wala pa rin po, ma'am.
Hello? Ano yun, Iha? Okay. Okay. And then, okay. Thank you for that. Try again. Kung madungog sa inyong end, ha?
Wala na, ma'am.
Okay na po, ma'am.
Madungog na ba everybody? Please answer me.
Yes po, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes po, ma'am.
Much better ba kung ganito kalaki?
Yes,
Opo,
ma'am.
ma'am. Okay, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Painting is the practice of applying paint, pigment, color or other medium to a surface, support base. The medium is commonly applied to the base with a brush, but other implements, such as knives, sponges, and airbrushes, can be used. Painting is a mode of creative expression, and the forms are numerous. Drawing, gesture as in gestural painting, composition, narration as in narrative art, or abstraction as in abstract art, among other aesthetic modes, may serve to manifest the expressive and conceptual intention of the practitioner. Paintings can be naturalistic and representational, as in a still life or landscape painting, photographic, abstract, narrative, symbolistic as in symbolist art, emotive as in expressionism, or political in nature as in artivism. A portion of the history of painting in both Eastern and Western art is dominated by spiritual motifs and ideas. Examples of this kind of painting range from artwork depicting mythological figures on pottery, to biblical scenes rendered on the interior walls and ceiling of the Sistine Chapel, to scenes from the life of Buddha or other images of Eastern religious origin. In art, the term painting describes both the act and the result of the action. The support for paintings includes such surfaces as walls, paper, canvas, wood, glass, lacquer, clay, leaf, copper and concrete, and the painting may incorporate multiple other materials including sand, clay, paper, plaster, gold leaf, as well as objects. The term painting is also used outside of art as a common trade among craftsmen and builders. The oldest known paintings are at the Gros Chauvet in France, which some historians believe are about 32,000 years old. They are engraved and painted using red ochre and and they show horses, rhinoceros, lions, buffalo, mammoth, abstract designs and what are possibly partial human figures. However, the earliest evidence of the act of painting has been discovered in 2 rock shelters in Arnhem Land, in northern Australia. In the lowest layer of material at these sites, there are used pieces of ochre estimated to be 60,000 years old. Archaeologists have also found a fragment of rock painting preserved in a limestone rock shelter in the Kimberley region of northwestern Australia, that is dated 40,000 years old.
All right. What you have previously watched is the meaning and the short history of painting. So one of the many factors that we need to understand when we wanted to know reading visual arts is for us to be able to understand the history, definition, description of the different genre of arts. Now, one of the many is painting. Now, let's move on to drawing. Sige. Okay, tell me if you can hear it, ha? I'm sharing it again. See? Everybody, makita na ba? Mag-ano na
Yes,
siya?
ma'am. Nandun.
Sandali lang, ha? Sandali lang, class. Nag-hang yung ano ko, computer.
What is a drawing?
Okay na po, ma'am.
A drawing can be described as a picture created with anything that makes a line or series of lines, usually a pencil, crayon, marker, pen, or even charcoal. Drawings can encompass a number of styles, including simple or complex, colorful or black and white, and realistic or abstract. We often take drawings for granted because they may seem simple, but drawings are an important component of art and how we communicate. We interact with drawings more than we realize. You might create a unique drawing in art class.
Dali lang, class, kasi naghina ako ang signal, ang connection.
What is a drawing? A drawing can be described as a picture created with anything that makes a line or series of lines, usually a pencil, crayon, marker, pen, or even charcoal. Drawings can encompass a number of styles, including simple or complex, colorful or black and white, and realistic or abstract. We often take drawings for granted because they may seem simple, but drawings are an important component of art and how we communicate. We interact with drawings more than we realize. You might create a unique drawing in art class.
Okay. So secondly, or second to painting is what we call drawing. So the last time we had our activity was more of abstract. Okay, what is the distinction between a drawing and a painting? Firstly is that paintings are made out of paint. Okay, and drawing, this is, they're both 2D, two-dimensional product, art product, but drawing are made of pencils and crayons. So last time what we had was abstraction. Let's watch another video of what is abstraction?
Abstractionism is the theory that the mind obtains some or all of its concepts by abstracting them from concepts it already has, or from experience. One may, for example, abstract green from a set of experiences which involve green along with other properties. Also, for example, one may abstract a generic concept like vegetable from the already possessed concepts of its instances, carrot, broccoli, onion, etc. This view was criticized by George Berkeley and Peter Geach.
All right, so everyone, go to your, di ba ako mahilig sa matamis? Maganyan ako sana ganina na. Sure. So everyone, go back to what you did last time. Okay, kunin nyo yun and tingnan nyo. The one that you made last time is actually what we call color abstraction. Color abstraction is how you abstractly provide the image of your mind with its color when you think. And that very moment, that very time when you made it, it's actually how your mind works katong nga time. Okay? Sige. Let's continue. So what is an abstraction? So an abstraction is the use of arts as a synonym for abstract art. So abstraction mainly moves away from showing things as they really are. It reshapes the natural world for expressive purpose, and it is called abstract. So when you do abstraction or when you're having abstract art, like what you did last time, okay, you are actually showing things what they really are, or not as they are, rather. Parang you move away from what it should be than what it shouldn't be. Or you move away from the reality. So an artwork that reshapes whatever that is naturally given by the world, tapos i-express na nimo, you call it abstraction. Next. So ways of representing abstraction. First, we have distortion. Second, we have elongation. Third, we have mangling. And fourth, we have cubism. O, go to your work. Asa na yung work ninyo previously, yung ginawa natin? Hawakan nyo, tingnan nyo, which among the different ways of representing abstraction, nagre-represent ang work ninyo. So let's start with distortion. Distortion is the subject in the art is misshaped in condition. What do you mean by that? Yung na-distort siya ba? Imbis square iyahang shape, nahimo siyang square but not literally square. Distorted siya. Sige nga, sino sa inyo ang meron? Kung meron, you open your camera and show it. Sige nga, who would like to present their work? Kinsay na ay distortion? Naa ba? Basig maulaw na? Mag-volunteer lang. Ayaw lang ako ang papiliak kay. Dili man ko gusto show ang inyong work. Wala permission ninyo. So, kamo lang daw. Kanang katong mga na I work, nga murag tan-aw nila, ma'am, mura ni siya kuan, ma'am. shape heart, pero dili gid siya super heart or distorted na siya. So that one can be considered as distortion. Okay, let's move on next. Example is this one. The Weeping Woman by Pablo Picasso. Diba? Tayo, mag-determine natin siya na para siyang face. But dili di siya super kanang naong niya face. Distorted siya at some point. Okay? Sige, let's move on. Another is The Distorting Street Face by Andre Muniz Gonzaga. This is a very good example of distortion. Next is elongation. So what is elongation? Elongation is the subject where you lengthen for protraction or extension. So imo siyang gipahaba, gipa-extend nimo siya of whatever your subject is. Example, this one. Which part of it is elongated or gipahaba? Let's try to call on down. Jade, Lloyd, Jade, are you around? Asa kaya atin sa ilaha sa
Excuse me, putol-putol ka, ma'am.
putol ko, class?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Putol-putol ba ko? Ingani di ay basta manawag na tag-estudyante, magputol-putol na tano, ha? Sige.
Okay na, ma'am.
Okay, okay na, ma'am.
Okay na di ay. Okay, Jade. Sige, Jade. Can you share to the class which part of the picture or image do you think is elongated or kanang lengthen, gipataas? This is a recorded recitation, ha? For everybody's information. Every question is worth 10 points, of course.
Ang neck, ma'am?
Very good. Okay. Kapilidin mo, Jade?
Escabosa, ma'am.
Okay. How about others? Meron pa kasi. Sige. Habla, Christine?
Ano, ma'am, kaning sayang nose line bito gikan sa yahang mata padong sa
Good, very good. Habla, yes, correct. Let's try to call on another one. Baloro, meron pa kasi.
Face niya, ma'am.
Exactly, the face. Ano ga apelyido nun? Baloro?
Baloro, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, baloro.
Good. Let's move on. Okay, the portrait of woman in hat by Modigliani. Okay, which you think is or lengthen, gipataas. Sige nga. Okay, Indirio.
Iyang hands, ma'am.
Yahang.
Kamot, ma'am. Iyang hands.
Okay. Ano pa kaya?
Yang ilong, ma'am.
Mario.
fingers po niya, ma'am.
Fingers. Sige. Ano pa? File ba?
Her neck, ma'am.
Her neck? No. Oh, buburo man ang neck.
Yang ilong, ma'am.
Okay.
Ma'am.
Ilong. Sige. Okay. Thank you. Let's move on. Another ways of representing abstraction is mangling. Okay, mangling. The subjects in mangling are either cut, lacerated, mutilated, or hacked. In short, mo ni siya itong mga, kung makita nimo sa picture, maunit sila tong giputol, mura ba gitigbas, gitanggalan, or gihacked. Sige, next tayo. Example is this one. May I call on somebody? Which part of the image kaya ang mura giputol?
Yang kamot, ma'am.
Adobas, you wait for me when I call you. Adobas?
His forehead, ma'am.
Forehead. Ah, very good. Adobas. That's actually correct. What else? Perez, Desiree?
Yang body, ma'am.
Body? Oh, which part of the body you think?
Sa may hawak at I think ano, ma'am, or sa
May breast man ata ay hawak. Ano ba itong hawak mo? Sige. What else pa kaya? Yes, Sarmiento?
Yang braso, ma'am.
Braso. Braso? Wala man. Walay braso. Sumpay man ang braso. Ugang arms. Borda.
sa neck part, ma'am, sa left picture po.
Sa neck part. Sige. What else? Lagnayo.
Ang kuan niya, ma'am, kanang sa left photo gani, ma'am, kay marag 3 kabuok yung arms.
Okay, very good observation, Lagnayo. Sige. Let's move on. Don't worry, dagan pa kay question. Okay, another way of representing abstraction is cubism. So what are cubism, or how do we do cubism? It is when subjects are shown in basic geometrical shapes. In short, everything is done through figures and shapes in the image. A very good example is this one. Which among the parts of the picture, or makita niyo sa picture nga cube siya? Sige. Figura. Ano si figura? Ay, wala pa di ay.
Ma'am, dili kay madungog, ma'am, kay kusog ang ulan, ma'am.
Okay, sige. Let's have Prieto. Basi parinti ta dong ha.
Ang sa may ano niya, ma'am.
Asa dapat Darnie?
Ang sa may ano niya, ma'am, kanang ubos gud. Ubos gud sa iyang ilong, ma'am, sa may baba niya. So,
Okay. Kana naka-gray part? That's actually correct.
yes po, ma'am, kanang naka-gray. Siya ray na lahi na gray po.
Sige. What else? Sarmiento?
Ang hands, ma'am.
Hands? Sarmiento, hands. Okay. How about the others? Huwaban. Huwaban. That's actually correct. Sige. This one as well is a very good example of cubism. So let's try to look at the different people behind abstraction, or kinsa ni silang mga artists that we may say that are very, very famous in making abstract art. Let's start with Pablo Picasso. So Pablo Picasso is probably the most important figure of the 20th century in terms of art and art movements that occurred over this period. So before he reached the age of 50, this Spanish-born artist had become the most well-known name in modern art, with the most distinct style and eye for artistic creation. So there had been no artist or no other artist prior to Picasso who had such an impact on the art world or had a mass following fans and critics alike, as he did. So this is Pablo Picasso, and he is one of the many famous artists, or we may say murag nagtatak ng artist na maayo sa abstraction. Let's proceed to realism. Sige. Let's now again watch a short video on about realism. You tell me if you can hear it or not, huh?
Realism in the arts is the attempt to represent subject matter truthfully, without artificiality and avoiding artistic conventions, implausible, exotic and supernatural elements. Realism has been prevalent in the arts at many periods, and is in large part a matter of technique and training, and the avoidance of stylization. In the visual arts, illusionistic realism is the accurate depiction of life forms, perspective, and the details of light and color. Realist works of art may emphasize the mundane, ugly or assorted, such as works of social realism, regionalism, or kitchen sink realism. There have been various realism movements in the arts, such as the opera style of Verismo, literary realism, theatrical realism, and Italian neorealist cinema. The realism art movement in painting began in France in the 1850s, after the 1848 revolution. The realist painters rejected Romanticism, which had come to dominate French literature and art, with roots in the late 18th century.
Alright, so balik natin para may natin guide. So when we talk of realism, it's actually an art representing what the natural world is. So say for example, nakita dira na bird, naglupad-lupad na siya, niya imo na siya gusto i-paint, and then you painted it as if murag na siya tinuod, and it's as if tinuod nga kinopya din mo siya. It's like imitating lang. That's now realism. So wala kay gibutangan na artificiality, wala nimo gidugog-dungagan og other things, but mao lang gito siya kay mao to siya nakita nimo. That is realism. So basically, what do we mean by realism? So realism is broadly considered as the beginning of the modern art. Literally, this is due to its conviction that everyday life and the modern world were suitable objects for art. So we embrace the progressive aims of modernism, seeking new truths through the re-examination of overturning of traditional systems of values and beliefs. So we are concerned by how life was structured socially, economically, politically, and culturally in the mid-19th century. So this now led to the unflinching, sometimes ugly portrayals of life's unpleasant moments, and the use of dark, earthly palettes that confronted high art's ultimate deals of beauty. Same with that realism was the first explicitly anti-institutional, non-conformist art movement. Realist painters took aim at the social mores and values of the bourgeoisie and monarchy upon who patronized the art market. In layman's terms, okay? In short ba sa atong gamay nga pagpasabot, realism is giving you what is reality. Kung nakita ka dira, nakakita ka two punching men over a woman, you wanted to take a picture of it and post it and describe it literally in a form of photography, that is a realist photography. If you wanted to draw something because you realize that your mother was really beautiful when cooking your dinner, wala ka dinungag-dungag ng urban pa, that is realistic drawing. Okay? Question so far? Okay, wala. Let's move on. So the artists who were known to be in a form of realist perspective. So kinsa ni sila kanang mga tao na or mga pioneer and artist as well. Kana bang maayo kaayo sa realistic art. Let's start with, forgive me kung there will be times na medyo mali akong pagbasa kay their names are very Italian and French. So I'm not an Italian, I'm not a French. So I will read it with all my knowledge. So if I'm not mistaken, this is read as Honore Daumri. Oh, Honore or Honore, whatever it is, was a French painter or sculpture. Papa, nag-klasiko pa. Please, nag-klasiko. Nag-klasiko. Call back later. Okay. Class, can you hear me?
Yes po,
Yes.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes po.
Pipa, nag-klasiko. Later na tawag, please. Okay, let's continue. So he's a French painter and sculptor. And, wait lang. Asan ba ang aking isang phone? Ilang klasa? Sino ba yun? Okay, let's move on. So, he is a French painter and a sculptor and printmaker during the mid-19th century. So, Daumier or Daumier in his palayaw or nickname is well known for his political caricatures and satirical art, very. And he was also a key figure of, wait lang, sandali lang talaga. Okay, sorry class ha. There was an emergency. Sige, let's go back. So, makita pa? Madungog pa ko?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Madungog pa. Yes, ma'am.
So, second person to be known to be very realistic in his work of art is Ru Transnonain Lay. Okay, I'm sorry. Sorry. This is actually the work of Honore Dongre. Sorry, class. Okay, it's called Ru Transnonain. I don't know if I perfectly pronounce it. It's French. I don't know French. So I'm trying my best. So Dominier revealed in the picture, in the painting, the government exists with an emotionally provocative image showing the aftermath of the government's grossly disproportionate reaction. So it focused on the corpse of an unarmed civilian lying atop the body of his head child. What do you mean by that? So this realist painting is a picture of what and how the French government did to its people when they were having disproportion in their taxes. So makita, siguro ginapakita ni Nori diri is that there was an adjust bang collection of the taxes. So siguro at some point, the person or the image or the persona in the picture is bang against of what the French government tried to implement as their laws. Okay? Sige, let's move on. Another is one, ito medyo alam ko paano pag-pronounce sa kanyang, Gustave Courbet. Mao din pagbasa sa name. Gustave Courbet was a French painter and a chief figure in the realist movement of the mid-19th century. So his paintings often contained an emotional bleakness and were praised for their precision and use of light, along with Delacroix. Okay, Delacroix mo pagbasa. Courbet was a key influence in the Impressionists. So Gustave daw is to be known as one of the best artists in the perspective of realism. So one of his many artworks or product is the Stonebreakers. Now the image on the Stonebreakers tells us that there's a scene of two men creating a gravel of roads. And these men are identified as one of the least paying and most back-breaking jobs imaginable. Courbet rendered his figures faceless as to make them anonymous stand-ins for the lowest orders of French society. So makita ninyo, these are stone breakers. Kato bang ginaguba nila ang mga stone para mahimo to siyang gravel, himuon to siyang dalan. So in Courbet's kanabang perspective, realistically, it's telling us na kanido ang pinaka-least paying jobs and yet most difficult to achieve. Okay. Next, we also have Jean-François Millet. O, di ba? Para sa kughawad of French. So, Jean-François Millet was a realist painter in the 19th century in France. He's the founder of the Barbizon School or Barbizon. Humingon pa sila. He is especially known for his depictions, rural life, and peasant labor. So look at the picture or the image of the gleaners. Siya ang gumawa niyan. It's in the year 1851 where women were tried or tied visually to the land and their bowed bodies glanced the horizon, suggesting a quiet dignity and sense of belonging despite the calm, warm weather. So the gleaners is showing us that women gracefully did their job by picking man ata na siya, picking some grassroots, if I'm not mistaken. Sige, let's move on. Another is Ilya Repin. So Ilya is a Russian painter, realist painter, whose importance in the art world was equal to Leo Tolstoy. So, how do siya kayo? Kaya compare ko daw siya kay Leo Tolstoy. the literary world. So Leo Tolstoy is a very good writer in the work of literature, in the world of literature, rather. He was the most famous and influential Russian painter of the 19th century in the realist perspective, bring Russian art to the forefront of the European culture. So one of his many works is Barge Holiers on the Volga. So it's a team of poor, downtrodden workers pull a ship upstream. So yoked almost like farm animals, they are shown to be destitute and demoralized. If you happen to look at the people who are pulling the ship papunta sa dalampasigan upstream, they're shown to be very destitute. What do you mean by destitute? Poor. Okay, and demoralized, marginalized, okay, or neglected group of people. Sige. Next, we have Thomas Eakins. Thomas Eakins is an American realist painter, photographer, sculptor, and teacher as well. So he's renowned as an influential realist painter, particularly during the 19th century. So his many portraits famously depict the streets, the parlors, natural scenery, and citizens of his native Philadelphia, working on both the canvas and with motion photography. Eakins is known as the master of light, shadow, and movement, and for capturing simple scenes that evoke complex themes. So one of his many works is the Gross Clinic in the year 1875. This is about the portrayal of the blood and the viscera of his patients, open body updated, the false cleanliness and decorum of Rembrandt's The Anatomy Lesson of Dr. Nicholas Tolt, with uncompromising realism. All right. Yeah, so much of that. Madami na. Ha? Nasa inyong Whipper ito. Let's move on and watch the video about Impressionism.
Impressionism is a 19th century art movement that originated with a group of Paris-based artists whose independent exhibitions brought them to prominence during the 1870s and 1880s. Impressionist painting characteristics include relatively small, thin, yet visible brush strokes, open composition, emphasis on accurate depiction of light and its changing qualities, often accentuating the effects of the passage of time, ordinary subject matter, inclusion of movement as a crucial element of human perception and experience, and unusual visual angles. The Impressionists faced harsh opposition from the conventional art community in France. The name of the style derives from the title of a Claude Monet work, Impression, Soleil Levant, Impression, Sunrise, which provoked the critic Louis Leroy to coin the term in a satirical review published in the Parisian newspaper Le Charivari. The development of Impressionism in the visual arts was soon followed by analogous styles in other media that became known as Impressionist music and Impressionist literature. Radicals in their time, early Impressionists violated the rules of academic painting. They constructed their pictures from freely brushed colors that took precedence over lines and contours, following the example of painters such as Eugen Delacroix and J.M.W. Turner. They also painted realistic scenes of modern life, and often painted outdoors. Previously, still lifes and portraits as well as landscapes were usually painted in a studio. The Impressionists found that they could capture the momentary and transient effects of sunlight by painting en plein air. They portrayed overall visual effects instead of details, and used short broken brush strokes of mixed and pure unmixed color, not blended smoothly or shaded, as was customary, to achieve an effect of intense color vibration. Impressionism emerged in France at the same time that a number of other painters, including the Italian artists known as the Macchiaioli, and Winslow Homer in the United States, were also exploring plein air painting. The Impressionists, however, developed new techniques specific to the style, encompassing what its adherents argued was a different way of seeing. It is an art of immediacy and movement, of candid poses and compositions, of the play of light expressed in a bright and varied use of color. The public, at first hostile, gradually came to believe that the Impressionists had captured a fresh and original vision, even if the art critics and art establishment disapproved of the new style. By recreating the sensation in the eye that views the subject, rather than delineating the details of the subject, and by creating a welter of techniques and forms, Impressionism is a precursor of various painting styles, including Neo-Impressionism, Post-Impressionism, Fauvism, and Cubism.
All right. So basically, impression is about, ano yun gani? It's about the violation of the rules of academic painting. Okay? Impressionists constructed their pictures from freely brushed colors and took precedence over lines and contours, following the example of painters like Delacroix and Turner. So Impressionism originated from Paris, and a group of artists in Paris were actually doing an independent exhibitions where give them the prominence in the 1870s and in the 1880s. So they are relatively small, thin yet visible brush. So more of the brush strokes ni siya. If you're going to look at a painting, pag makita ninyo na daghan kay mga brush strokes, automatic that is a form or process of Impressionism. However, if we're going to talk about its subject, it tells us a recreation of the sensation of the eyes, where it views the subject rather than delineating, okay, the details of the subject. So you should look at the subject as a whole when you wanted to know what it impressionally tells you. So dili ka magtanaw sa mga little details in it, but you look at it as a whole. So you would be able to understand na eto yung meaning niya. In that way, you are actually looking at it in the perspective of Impressionism. Let's move on and watch Fauvism. What is Fauvism? Fauvism is said to be the painting of the colors. So, kani siya, usually makita nato ni sa mga painting, pictures, and images where vibrant colors are actually kanang play. Okay? Pag nagani mo makita na mga ginatawag na itong mga drawings na kanaganing murag children like light colors, vibrant, kanang hayag kayo using kanang let's say light pink, light yellow, or even neon pink, neon green, neon orange. Kana sila pag naana sila sa isa ka painting, sa isa ka picture, or sa isa ka artwork, they are thought to be Fauvism perspective. So most of it is in the modern art. So usually kani sila makita natin sa mga modern time in the previous times or in the ancient times, mostly kay dark man and dili vivid na colors ang ginagamit. So Fauvism is a depiction of what and how a modern art should look like. Okay, let's move on to Dadaism. This one is kanang makarelate ta ning Dadaism tanan. Sige.
Dadaism was an art movement of the European avant-garde in the early 20th century. Dada in Zurich, Switzerland, began in 1916 at Cabaret Voltaire, spreading to Berlin shortly thereafter, but the height of New York Dada was the year before, in 1915. The term anti-art, a precursor to Dada, was coined by Marcel Duchamp around 1913 when he created his first ready-mades. Dada, in addition to being anti-war, had political affinities with the radical left and was also anti-bourgeois. At least two works qualified as pre-Dadaist, a posteriori, had already sensitized the public and artists alike. Ubu Roy, 1896, by Alfred Jarry, and The Ballet Parade, 1916-17, by Eric Satie. The roots of Dada lay in pre-war avant-garde Cubism and the development of collage, combined with Wassily Kandinsky's theoretical writings and abstraction, detached the movement from the constraints of reality and convention. The influence of French poets and the writings of German expressionists liberated Dada from the tight correlation between words and meaning. Avant-garde circles outside France knew of pre-war Parisian developments. They had seen or participated in Cubist exhibitions held at Galeria Dalmo, Barcelona, 1912. Galerie de Sturm in Berlin, 1912, the Armory Show in New York, 1913, Sviu Manis in Prague, 1914, several Jack of Diamonds exhibitions in Moscow and at Die Modern Kunstkring, Amsterdam, between 1911 and 1915. Futurism developed in response to the work of various artists. Dada subsequently combined these approaches. Dada activities included public gatherings, demonstrations, and publication of art/literary journals. Passionate coverage of art, politics, and culture were topics often discussed in a variety of media. Key figures in the movement included Hugo Ball, Emmy Hennings, Hans Arp, Raoul Hausmann, Hannah Hawk, Johannes Bader, Tristan Tzara, Francis Picabia, Richard Holzenbeck, George Gross, John Hartfield, Marcel Duchamp, Beatrice Wood, Kurt Schwitters, Hans Richter, and Max Ernst, among others. The movement influenced later styles like the avant-garde and downtown music movements, and groups including Surrealism, Nouveau Realism, Pop Art and Fluxus. Dada was an informal international movement, with participants in Europe and North America. The beginnings of Dada correspond to the outbreak of World War I. For many participants, the movement was a protest against the bourgeois nationalist and colonialist interests, which many Dadaists believed were the root cause of the war, and against the cultural and intellectual conformity, in art and more broadly in society, that corresponded to the war. Many Dadaists believed that the reason and logic of bourgeois capitalist society had led people into war. They expressed their rejection of that ideology in artistic expression that appeared to reject logic and embrace chaos and irrationality. For example, George Grosz later recalled that his Dadaist art was intended as a protest against this world of mutual destruction. According to Hans Richter, Dada was not art, it was anti-art. Dada represented the opposite of everything which art stood for. Where art was concerned with traditional aesthetics, Dada ignored aesthetics. If art was to appeal to sensibilities, Dada was intended to offend.
Alright. So in short, what do we mean by Dadaism? Anything and everything na artwork na funny o dili yung masabtan. Dadaism is like that. Kanang artwork na wala kasabot. Kung tayo, say for example, no, very good example, ani kanang mga 3D art. Kanang there are kanang work of art gani nga gina-display nga di ka kasabot na ay lata, na ay tansan, tapos ilang gisumpay-sumpay. O, magpakita ko example ani ha. Ay, dili man din ni mao ang naka-share screen. Sige na lang. But one of the many examples of this one is, have you happened to visit kaniging park sa Davao? People's Park. Kinsa na nakadto sa People's Park sa Davao? Okay? In Davao, kanang People's Park, natin ginatawag daraan na artist nga nag design anak. Okay? Figuratively and literally. So if you happen to go there, there are mini statues or pictures dira or mga things na gibutang nila that we actually kanang mga normal people dili ta kasabot sa meaning. So if you happen to meet such, okay, kanang mga materials nga wala ka kasabot nga nung gisumpay-sumpay na sila and then they call it art, that is actually one and a very good example of Dadaism. Okay, it's already 5 p.m. Tama ba ako?
Yes po, ma'am.
Yes po,
Ma'am.
And our class ends at sa ganyan oras?
5:30 po.
3:30 ba? 3:30 man tayo.
5 po, ma'am.
5 p.m.
5 po, ma'am.
5:30.
5 po, ma'am.
3:30 tayo?
5, ma'am.
5 po, ma'am. 5.
5, ma'am.
3:30 to 5 lang tayo class. Uy, sino nagsabi 5:30?
Ako, ma'am. Sorry, ma'am.
Na ito, kadali lang ha. Nakuha na noon ko. Na-confuse. According to...
Ma'am, because klase.
Ha?
Nag-start na akong second class.
Maugani class. 5 lang takutob ha. Tama ba ko class?
Ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am.
Yes po, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. 5 lang po.
We don't have class on Friday. We will meet again on Monday. Is that clear, everybody?
Ma'am.
Yes
Ma'am.
po, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Monday, we will continue the discussion and our watching of videos on Monday. Bye, class!
Bye, ma'am.
Bye.